As I reflect back on my life, I have seen a lot of personalities, people, objects and situations have shown totally unpredictable behavior. Person I had expected to be straightforward has turned out to be a crook. Facades of pious people, so-called saints, have turned out to be crooks. People who I thought were my friends have turned around 180 degrees for different reasons. The quirkiness of their minds I have not been able to predict. Just looking at them, if my mind thinks something and if they behave in a totally different way, I have gotten hurt and I have been proven wrong so many times in judging people. Putting all these things together tells me that it's not easy to predict any person in a positive way or negative way. But we keep on doing it. I want to learn from my experiences. I want to go above the sufferings that happen because of my beliefs about people. Under all these experiences lies the mind. The mind being the swiftest entity on this earth. It is the biggest gift the evolution has given us. Compared to the minds of the animals, human minds are tremendously developed. Mind is even faster than the speed of light. It may take several minutes for the light even, which travels at 186,000 miles a second. It still takes 8 minutes for it to arrive from the sun to the earth. But mind can go on the sun, the moon, the galaxies, remote parts of universe. So mind is a very unstable entity that we have. And even looking at our own mind, we can tell how our thoughts are continuously generated all the time. Imagine if every single thought had resulted into an action. Every single thought that you think of, if had materialized, your life would have been a mess. All the thoughts put together and compare with the final action that you take, the ratio is almost 1,000,000 to 1. We think of so many things, and ultimately we do one thing. And that's how the life goes on. The unpredictability of people's behavior is also a result of their swiftness of the mind. The mind is so swift, it's almost impossible to handle. We have no control on our thoughts, and the same thing goes for everybody else. So the unpredictability is the diversity. Every mind is different. Every thought is different than the previous one. If you put all these things together, your mind and then millions of people's mind, it almost seems that we are helpless against the mind. Mind keeps on thinking, keeps on generating ideas, keeps on making you run in every single direction possible at the same time. Mind will want you to ride on 2 horses at the same time. More than 2,000 of horses at the same time. This diversity of life has taught me one thing, that if I stay with the mind, the suffering is for sure. Mind continuously goes on all the time. It wants to do things. It wants to perform, acquire, hold. If mind is like that, I cannot trust the mind, because mind doesn't know. If mind knew what is the right thing to do, then that's all it would think about. But it doesn't. It thinks of so many things. A lot of thoughts are counterproductive to each other. Sometimes you think of doing something, and at the same time you think of not doing something. You always think of pros and cons, and sometimes you want to do this, sometimes you don't want to do this. All these activities are going on in the mind. If I really observe carefully my own mind, since I don't have access to other people's minds, I can understand that the mind is blind. Mind doesn't really know what to do. That's why it has to think of so many things. This quirkiness of the mind, instability of the mind, and then the instability of the personalities of the people who came in my life, and unpredictability of their behaviors. If I put all these things into one package, it really makes a very unstable universe. And besides the people, even the weathers change. No 2 sunrises are the same. No 2 sunsets are the same. Rains are different every time I experience them. The whole nature is unstable. Where do you find the peace? Where do you find an entity that always makes the right decision versus my mind, which thinks of so many things before it can act? The diversity of life can be understood only by power of observation. The witness function of our inner psyche. First, makes you realize the instability of the world, instability of your own mind. And once you can develop a vision of an observer where you can put all your life experiences together, and how many times you've been wrong in predicting people, predicting situations of life, it tells me that mind cannot really control my life. And yet it is difficult to come out of the mind. It seems difficult to control the mind. The power of observation, of the quirkiness, the swiftness of the mind takes me to the zone of spiritual existence. By being an observer, I'm walking away from my mind. And I come to the point of thoughtless state, the samadhi state, where I see the unpredictability of the mind. I need to utilize my mind to do things in life, to change this world, to get something out of the world that I desire. And I act also to run away from the things that I don't like. The basic nature of the mind is to run outside into the world and try to change the life situations. But then again, everybody around me also has their own minds. If I could turn a magic wand over the rest of the universe that suits me, then I would want to do it. Except everybody has the same kind of mind that I do, which is also very quirky. I cannot change them. Everyone walking around has their own set of body, mind, and the soul. And their minds are also not even under their own control, let alone my control. So the whole package of dualities, unpredictabilities, it makes me wonder, why do we have this mess? There is only one way to solve this and understand this. We consider mind as a separate entity, but it's not. When we start observing the mind, the soul starts becoming prominent. The soul, which is the seat of the power, the inner life force, the urja that's springing from within, which ultimately feeds the mind and feeds the body, keeps the body alive, keeps the mind meaningful. If I remove that life force, the mind and the body become meaningless, useless. So if I reach to the source of power, source of life energy, it tells me that I am the one, as a soul, feeding the energy to the mind. I am the one who, as a fool, was considering mind as the most supreme. By witnessing it and walking away from it, I am withdrawing the power from it. I do not see any point in my mind generating millions of thoughts. I don't see any point in mind running and doing things and changing the world. I do not see why mind has to try to change the people around me. I don't see any reason why mind has to set up fixed ideas about the people around me. And when people turn out to be totally different, almost totally opposite of what I had pictured them, and then my mind gets upset, cries, suffers. I don't see any point. I don't see any point in a lot of things my mind is doing. So I have decided to transcend my mind. I have stopped judging people. I have stopped changing the world. And my mind starts becoming quiet. It's like a wild dog that you buy, and then you eventually train it, and it starts coming under your control. You start becoming the boss, and he follows your commands. So this quirkiness of your as well as everybody else's minds, if it can be observed from a distance, a lot of meaningless activities of the mind will start going down. And realizing that all this quirkiness of the minds also have a reason. The universal consciousness has given us this gift. It can be utilized properly for creation that can go further in life. Permutation, combination, crossing of different minds together, ultimately, hopefully, leading to a better life and evolutionary progress further in life. But this unpredictability is a raw material of billions of ideas, billions of thoughts, billions of beliefs. A lot of these ideas are going to be nullified, and ultimately the winner will come out. So unpredictabilities of my as well as everybody else's minds is a gift of this consciousness, which makes it a raw material to produce something better. Only if we synchronize, if we remain synchronized with Atma, Paramatma, whatever you call, spirit consciousness, which is beyond the mind. So to make your mind more synchronized, you have to get deeper into samadhi and understand the unpredictability of your mind and the uselessness of the mind. And yet, mind will still exist, but he will follow, or rather, it will follow your commands, your wish, and you will be in charge. Then Krishna will be running your life, not Arjuna. Krishna will be driving your chariot, and not vice versa. Most of the times, we let Arjuna drive the chariot, and we keep Krishna behind, We keep worshipping Him. We keep going to the temples. We keep going, singing the bhajans. All those things have no value unless He starts driving your chariot. And you do your life duty like Arjun did with the help of Krishna. So Krishna says, whoever sees me in everything and everything in me sees me all the time. So respect everything that's around you. Be ready for unpredictability and still include all different personalities within your global consciousness. Respect everything and everybody as a creation of consciousness. Then only you will be able to deal with different personalities, different unpredictable behaviors of the people, and still maintain your peace. Krishna is the ultimate existence that we can merge into, and then life becomes a joyride. Whatever unpredictability comes, you are ready for it. Body is very slow, mind is very swift, but still the swiftness of the mind is nothing compared to the infinite consciousness. It may take even a microsecond for the mind to reach to the remote parts of the universe, but infinite consciousness does not even need that. That's a lot faster than the mind. In fact, it's everywhere. That's why it's infinite. To reach everywhere at the same time is a lot faster than the speed of mind. So the supremacy of the soul starts shining out once you go deeper into samadhi state. And then you realize the stupidity of the mind, foolishness of the mind. So mind starts coming under your control. You don't have to hate the mind. Mind is still your creation. It was your decision to be active and go in 10,000 different directions. And now you have taken a decision not to do that. It's almost like if you're running and then you stop running, we cannot say what happened to your running. Did you throw it away? Mind is not a separate entity. Mind is your activity. And when that activity slows down, you find Paramatma.